Hi, Davi here, and today we have a new episode in the Art Process series. And today we'll be talking about how you can be gestural in the way you render your sketches. Now, what I mean by this is, oftentimes when we start out our sketches, it does become somewhat gestural, where we're kind of loose with it, where we're not trying to be so tight. And it does make sense because in the beginning stages, you're trying to just sort of capture the spirit of the thing, or the gesture, the flow of whatever it is you're trying to capture or illustrate. But I did find out in a recent session, in a recent sketch session of mine, that you can apply that sort of gestural flowy vibe with the way you paint as well, or with the way you render or shade. And I think it goes well together, because sometimes I think we sort of separate the two, where we start out something or start out with a gestural sort of line sketch, and then once we start adding in the shadows or the color, we start to become a bit more tight, and I think we lose a bit of that energy we had in the beginning. So I think we can sort of continue that sort of gestural beginning and just kind of let it go, or just let that thing keep going. And I do recommend trying this out in black and white. Start out the sketch you're doing with like a gestural sort of line work, very loose line work, just capturing the major sort of blobs and shapes, not being so tight with it. My recommendation is to actually do your best to avoid any kind of straight line. If you are doing a somewhat straight line, make sure there's a bit of a curve, there's a bit of a swivel to it, and sort of let the stroke just kind of happen on its own, and let your hand just not be so robotic with it, right? And kind of let the natural shakiness of your hand and arm influence the way the stroke is going to come out. And then from there, try to keep that same energy with that initial sort of line sketch in the way you add in the shadows, right? And again, right now, I think that it's just better to just do it in black and white, because I think you're doing too much when you're adding color, especially if you haven't done this yet. Just for an experiment, I think it's nice to just go in, keep it gestural when it comes to the line sketch in the beginning, and then once you add in those shadows or extra gray values, do the same thing. Let the strokes sort of flow with the form. Don't try to block it out with really hard sort of edges and shapes. Try to keep it as curvy and as soft as you can. Now, I think it does help if you sketch something that's a bit more organic too. Now, in the background, you can see me draw this character from... there's a recent game that's out. It's called Black Myth Wukong. I'm not a gamer. I don't have a PC or a PS5, so I just watch people play the game, via gameplay videos on YouTube. And it's just like the game and the way it looks. And I think... I did an art review of one of the artists, like one of the main, like maybe he's an art director or something, but Yankee or Ki Yang, he's part of this project or this studio. And if you watch like the way he paints, and if you look at his artwork, he does have a very natural feel to his strokes. So I think that's why I was kind of attracted to the concept art designs of this game as well. But the actual game too is pretty... it looks good to me. I mean, I don't play it. I don't have any kind of console or PC, but it looks good so far. So yeah, I did pick that as my reference because, number one, I just felt like drawing that thing in the moment. It's kind of popular now, so it's interesting at the moment. And I think this is important because oftentimes you don't want to pick a subject that's not somewhat interesting, right? Because I think that's going to make your sketch or art session not as appealing. And if that happens, you're less likely to even start in the first place. So try to pick a subject that is somewhat interesting to you right now, right? Not what's good for the views, right? But what's interesting to you right now. If you can find something that's interesting to you, but at the same time you think can get a bit of attention, then go for it, right? So that's the first reason why I chose that. But also, I think by accident actually is where it actually helped me figure out to sort of use that gestural approach with the rendering or shading as well. And I think it was picking a subject that was organic. So I was very glad I decided to draw these characters. It's basically just one character. It's the monkey guy, the main character, right? The one you're playing. And it's basically these still shots in the game, in the dashboard, where you can update his equipment or, you know, craft his weapons and stuff like that, or his like costume or armor and such. And I just picked interesting poses, interesting frames from gameplays I saw online or on YouTube. And I decided to just sketch them out. And I think I did have a better time with really seeing the gestural sort of or really being able to express the gestural like approach when the view is not straight on. You can still do it, but I think you can see that sort of flowiness better if it's sort of in a quarter view where it's not totally like you're not seeing the character totally in front or in the back or in the side, like an elevation view. If it's sort of skewed to the side, I think that's where you can really see the lines flow. And I think it's better for rendering too. Number one, better to sketch, but also it's better to sketch in terms of like the initial line work, but also once you start shading, adding in the shadows, adding in some values, I think it's better if it's in a kind of a quarter view, right? Your strokes seem to just flow better that way, and it just looks good in general. And I think you can see that in my third sketch, where you're seeing the character. You can see the character's face. It's with a mask, but you can see the character's face, but it's sort of the torso is kind of twisted to the side, right? And yeah, you don't have to, whenever you're doing these sorts of sketches, you don't actually have to complete any of it, like finish it from like 0 to 100. Just do or push the sketch until you feel good about it. That's my strategy there. And if you feel like quitting on something, then just quit and then just start a different sketch. I think in the first sketch, it's kind of a front view, but the head is kind of tilted to the side a bit. It's okay, but I just lost the energy to kind of continue that, so it happens. And it felt more like a warm-up than anything, so yeah, that's my basic advice, my basic sort of takeaway. And I think it's something you can try out. Just try to keep that same energy of your initial loose gestural sketch with the way you render or with the way you shade that specific drawing. So basically, don't try to segment it in a way that part 1 is going to be loose and then part 2 is going to be, you know, the tight session where you start sort of going in and being extra sort of crisp with the way you render or shade things. Just try to keep that same vibe of looseness. Now, will it look as like sharp and tight? Well, obviously no. But what you're gonna see is you're gonna still have that flowy vibe to it where it just feels more alive. When it comes to detail, it may suffer a bit, but who knows? You can try to add detail by being a bit flowy. I haven't done that yet, so we'll see in the future if I can sort of continue that looseness even in the sort of detail stage. But right now, or in that session anyway, I really did enjoy just being a bit more loose with the way I shaded stuff. Yeah. By the way, I am using my XPPen Deco Pro, the Generation 2. It's a good tablet. I have been using it more recently, and I have been using a bit more of my... Because I usually have this thing where I think having a pen tablet has a drawback of not being able to do like details as much. And one of my takeaways from past episodes was trying to actually force myself, or I just needed to put my fingers closer to the tip to be a bit more detail with my to be a bit more detailed with my strokes. And I think that was the solution for me to like to be able to make more detailed strokes. I just had to bring my fingers closer to the pen nib, because I have a habit of or I developed a habit of being a bit far away from the pen nib. So I think that, yeah, my artwork tends to be somewhat loose, but I did lose that sense of like detail and accuracy. But now, or with this recent art session, I sort of went back again to being a bit more loose. I'm still holding my fingers are still close to the pen nib, but I'm using a bit more of my elbow and my shoulders, or my shoulder rather. And I think it helps with the detail a bit, and also the size of my sketch. Obviously, if the sketch is too small, you're gonna have a hard time drawing it in the pen tablet. But the bigger your thing is in the canvas, the more you can use your arm, I guess, and you're not limited to just using your fingers or wrist. So the point is, you need to find a way to find what's comfortable for you, find what works, especially if you're trying to work on your details, right? So yeah, that's it. I think that's what happened with this recent session. I'm gonna do more. Oh, by the way, just a side note, I finally got my debit card activated because it was kind of expired, so it was kind of hard to purchase things, right? And I'm so glad now because I can finally buy a new tablet. It's not a super like up-to-date tablet, but I think it's good. I mean, who knows? I haven't got it yet, but I did order it. It's already there. It hasn't shipped yet apparently, but you know, the purchase has been made. And I'm getting it's also an XPPen, but it's a pen display. It's also because I wanted to replace what I currently have as a pen display. I have a pen tablet, XPPen, Deco Pro Gen 2, but my pen display, which is also my main monitor, is the XPPen 22E Pro. Now the issue with that tablet is, number one, it's old, but it's really the pens. Like, I don't think the pens work that well. Like, sometimes it glitches when you click the pen buttons. And apparently, when it comes to some of the older models of XPPen, it's sort of a feature and not necessarily a bug. I mean, it is a bug, but it's like part of the thing. Like, you can't really like fix it via updating your drivers and stuff like that. So, and also it doesn't have like pen tilt, and the battery is like, you have to charge the pen. It's a pretty old model. I've had this thing for like 4 years now ish, and I think 4 years is a good time to sort of update stuff. And I did. Oh, by the way, I recommend if you're going to Amazon, you may want to just go directly to the XPPen site itself, because in my case, as of this recording, it's actually way cheaper. I think right now in Amazon, the model I bought is the where I purchased is the I forgot it's the oh my god, why am I forgetting? It's a 22 display. I think it's 19.5. Is it 19.5 or 22 or 20? Oh my god, let me just quickly search it. I'm gonna keep scrolling down because I did save it. I bought it off this site. So yeah, the order is there, the payment success is there, but it hasn't shipped yet from the warehouse. So it does give you like a status, like a tracking number, but also like a status of, you know, where your order is. Oh yeah, so yeah, I did order an Artist 22 Gen 2. It's not exactly a new model, but it's the cheapest one. I just wanted the pen display that has a vase mount, so I can mount it to my monitor arm and serve as my main monitor, right? You can use, by the way, these types of pen displays as a main monitor. I just find it weird when people kind of turn it off and put it to the side. And I feel like they're afraid that they're gonna hurt their pen display. And I'm like, nah. So yeah, I did buy it off the main site, the XPPen.com site. Right now it's priced as $349, so basically $350. But on Amazon it's like $450 something. It's like $100 more, and I'm like, what the fuck? I don't get why that happens, but I don't really understand like the mechanics of it. But yeah, that's some advice for you. If in Amazon it's expensive, my recommendation is you go to the XPPen site itself, and you may get that thing for cheaper, right? So again, if you're interested on the thing that I bought, I did buy again an Artist 22 Gen 2, so it's a 21.5 inch display. It's still 1920 by 1080. It would have been nice if it got like a 2.5K something or a 4K, but I don't really need it. Would it be nice? Sure, but I can't afford those kinds of stuff. And that's okay, because I'm used to 1920 by 1080 anyway. And it also has a battery-less or a battery-free pen. So that's definitely an up or a positive compared to my 23E Pro pen where you have to sort of charge it once in a while. It's so annoying when you have to do that. And also this thing has tilt. In the 22E Pro, it doesn't have tilt. It doesn't have like pen direction, stuff like that. It's just like one solid thing. So it does kind of suck because my pen tablet, whether it be my pen tablet now, the WACOM Deco Pro Gen 2, or my recent one, or my previous one, the WACOM Intuos Pro S, they both have pen tilt. So it's sad that some of the brushes that works well with pen tilt, it sort of just is fixed on one setting when I have to use my 22E Pro pen. So hopefully with this change, I can sort of, keep things a bit more consistent and yeah. And yeah, the charging thing, the batteryless feature where you don't have to charge anything is amazing too. So there's that. And I've seen some product reviews of it by other artists and it seems okay. And you can tell it's kind of old because of the branding. The branding is not the current one. The one XPPen sent me, the Deco Pro Gen 2, they have a different logo for it. So they did sort of a rebrand or an update on their branding. This one has kind of the same logo as my 22E Pro. It's a pretty old model, but if you're poor and if you can't afford like the big major stuff, then I know Wacom is like the most expensive of the tablets, and XPPen and stuff like that, or brands like this are supposed to be a bit cheaper, but even there, it's not expensive though, like the recent models. So you're gonna have to wait like a few years if you're on the lesser side financially. So just wait for a while. And again, I am buying the Artist 22 Gen 2. So sure, it's an old model, but I think it's enough for me. If I can, oh yeah, because also, I think I already mentioned this, but it's hard for me to use the pen if I don't have the pen buttons working. So hopefully I can do more artwork with this. I mean, I could have bought like a new pen, but I was seeing the other like reviews or other like Reddit posts of similar issues other people have when it comes to like these types of tablets and pens. The older ones, they tend to have this, because my cursor would always sort of glitch. And I have two XPPens specific to 22E Pro, or to these kinds of tablets, and both don't work. Both have the same issue. So I just decided, you know what, not only do I need like a better pen, but also it's time. I need something to just get going. And pen tilt, come on, battery free stylus, you gotta have it. And hopefully there are no issues with the pen. If I still have the same issues with the freaking glitching cursor, I'm like gonna freaking, because right now for the pen towels I have by XPPen, the new one, generation dude, Deco Pro, no issues at all, no issues with the cursor. So I don't know, we'll see. So that's it for this process video. I did ramble a bit in the end, but yeah, hopefully this helps in some way, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.